in the NextGen Cyber Army training section. Last week, we started our deep dive on Microsoft Identity and Access Management, where we have our mentor, Chinke Ojiji, who taught us identity and security, who taught us Zero Trust. So we had an experience to learn the identity as the backbone of cloud security. So he taught us the importance of identity and how it is now the new security parameter. And we also saw Zero Trust principles. Let's not forget, one of the Zero Trust principles is always verify, use least privilege access, and assume breach. So if those are the things you even put into consideration, it's very important. Then Chinky also taught us real admin tags in Microsoft Entra ID, and he taught us how to detect compromised accounts and how to enforce MFA. And he also handled insider threats and risky sign-ins. The next day, which was on Sunday, he now went further in taking us through how to configure identity in Microsoft Entra ID and how to design company branding and how to customize our sign-in page. We also how we can add custom pictures when to display good sign-in experience for our users. We saw how to implement and manage Microsoft Entra ID. So last week was actually amazing because it was like the foundation of the identity and access management. And today, by the special grace of God, we are having our amazing speaker in the house. He's a mentor, he's a father, he's a teacher, and he's actually a perfect example for most of us that want to go into IT today. And he will be focusing on create, configure, and manage identities. So basically, all of us here, I believe after this training, we're all going to be identity experts because you have a lot of trainings and sections on identity. And today we are going to continue in creating and configure and managing identity. And I have no any other speaker again that can take this section perfectly, but our able MCT and MVP in the making, Opeyemi Stephen. I hand over the microphone to you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. All right. I hope you can all hear me. I hope I can be heard. Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Opeyemi. Your voice is very clear.
All right. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you for that. All right. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. So today, like we all know, we're already in that particular phase where we'll be seeing how things work, basically how, like last week, we talk about the branding. You've known the importance of branding and organization. You've seen so more of what we are going to be doing is more of looking at how these things are being done, and not so like today I'm not going to be having any slide. So I don't have any slide prepared for today's class because we are going to be doing more of going to the portal, seeing how things work, and then understanding how they work perfectly. Okay, so as you all know, my section today is how to create, configure, and manage identity. So we've all known from the word identity, we all understand what identity simply means. So we are no longer like a stranger to identity, and we've understand that identity is very important in the cloud space, even as a cloud security personnel, because definitely what you're going to be protecting identity mostly, and then resources. And mostly what resources. Okay, so that is for that. So actually all know say every person, every employer in an organization needs what? An identity. Okay, needs what? An identity. Now you need to create an identity for that person. The reason being, like I said, these are things we already know. The reason why we need to create an identity for us, a new employee in an organization, okay, so that we can identify them, so that we can know who are having license, or who and who is using our resources in the organization. Okay, so that is the major reason why we create what identity for users and also for any other thing. So now, so today we are going to look at how to create and configure, and manage users. And I believe some of us already have like an idea to how this works. Okay, I'm just going to be showing you one or two things so that we can really understand better what we are doing. So I'm just going to share my screen right away now. Give me 1 second. I can share my screen. Okay, I think I can. So to be sure I'm sharing the right thing, just give me 1 second. Yeah, so I believe you can all see my screen. Yeah, all right. You can all see my screen. All right. Okay. Now, like I said earlier on, we are going to be seeing how we can create, how we can configure users. Okay, how we can manage what users. Like we all know, we know that some of us already know how we can create users in our organization already, and some of us know how to do that now. But there are 3 types of users we have in the organization. Now, who can briefly tell us the just mention one who can tell us the type of users we have in our organization? I think I said something of this in my section when we started. So who can tell us? If you can tell, if you can't speak, you can just put it in the comment section. Okay, I think we have Adesoya. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to try.
Okay.
I think we have active users, we have external users and guest users. Thank you.
Active users, external users, and guest users. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. There. Who again? Who again? Yeah. Okay. Ko Roma. Sorry. Sorry if I pronounce it.
Don't worry, Solu. Is it B2B? I'm not sure. I just want to try. Is it B2B? Something like B2B. I'm not
No, just which
sure.
one do you? Which of the ones do you understand? Which of the users do you like? If we have an
I know there's
organization.
external. I know there's external users. They have
Uh-huh.
hybrid. There's hybrid. There's the active users, like she said. Then I
Okay.
can't. That's all. But I know there's B2B something. I can't remember what it is exactly, but there's something like B2B. I don't know.
Uh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. I think we are
Yeah.
making progress. Thank you very much. Any other person? If you have any other person, if you can't, you can just put it on the chat. Any other person you want to try? Do you have another person that wants to try? Okay, so I think we've all tried, so we've all tried the way you understand it. Now, in every organization, you understand, some organization, there are 3 basically types of users, okay, which is in the Microsoft Entra ID. Then we have the cloud identities users. We have the cloud identity. So the cloud identity users are those users that are created only in your Microsoft Entra ID or the Microsoft admin, which is your Microsoft 365 admin. So users that you create in that space are known as the cloud word identities. Okay. So now in that Microsoft Entra ID, that's when we now have the external users and then the guest users. Okay. Now, so when you create a users in your Microsoft Entra ID environment, That is either they are external users or they are invited users. Okay, and then the second type of user is where we have the direct synchronized identity. Directory synchronized identity. Now, the directory synchronized identity are those users that are synced from your on-prem, which is the Active Directory, using the Microsoft Entra Connect. So those users are users that are based on your on-prem environment, that they created them in the Active Directory environment, and then you now sync them. So when you sync those users to your Microsoft 365, they now become a directory synced one identity. So which means that those users were not created in your cloud environment, were not created in the Microsoft Entra ID environment or the Microsoft 365 environment, but they were created in the on-prem, and then you now sync them. Okay, and then the third set of user is now known as the guest users. The guest users. Now, those guest users are known as the external users, such as other cloud provider account, maybe like your Microsoft personal account. You know that is between the Microsoft personal account and then with the Microsoft business account, like the one you use in logging into your like the users you create in your cloud environment. Okay, now these guest users are the users that are invited to our tenant, which can be vendors, contractors, or whoever. It depends. Okay, the reason why you invite them, because you want to collaborate with those people. Maybe you want them to have resources to your organization, or you want them to collaborate with the users in your organization, depending on what you want them to do. So now this is my M365 environment. Now we all know how to, I believe by now most of us should have our test tenant environment where you can test out some things, where you create your user and all those things like that. So I believe you should have that now. So we have the video how to create a trial version, which is quite very good. But this my here is the developer tenant, and like which Microsoft, which is the first set Microsoft actually introduced when they started this, but now you can't actually have that developer tenant unless maybe if you have an MCT or thereabout. Okay, so the only one is to get those triad, which the ones you have been doing already. Now, so this is my environment here. And also one thing I want you to note that is very, very important. I think I've mentioned this in my first class here. When you are logging into this your environment, you need to understand, you need to know the URL. Your URLs are very, very important. Don't just assume, because these are things that it can even be asked at an interview. I think I said it before, you can ask you an interview. If it's even the exam, you can be asked in the exam. So if you look at this, my environment, you can see here, you can see I have admin. I hope you can see my screen. I hope my screen is visible enough. So
Yes,
you can
it is.
see, all right, thank you. So you can see you have the admin.cloud.microsoft. You can see now, that's why I put now. Now, this one, the admin.cloud.microsoft, is the environment that allows you to log in to your M365 environment when you have a certain role. Maybe you have the global administrator role, or you have the user administrator role. Okay, so it allows you to log into that. So once you type admin.cloud.microsoft. Now, admin.cloud, before it used to be admin.microsoft.com. It's still working. Okay, but this is the new one the Microsoft has introduced, which most people don't actually even use, because Microsoft has made this in such a way that even if you type admin.cloud.microsoft, or you type admin.microsoft, it's still going to redirect you to this place. Okay, so you need to note that URL you are logging. So it's very, very important. So you should know that if you want to log in, you don't just come up here and simply just type Microsoft as if you want to log in to your normal personal account, but you are logging into an administrator account. So you have to come up here and type admin. You can see that admin dot Microsoft. You can see if I type admin.microsoft now, you can see .com. If I press enter, it's still going to take me to that environment. Can you see that now? It should still take me to this environment. And I think the last I think there's a time I show you there's a particular shortcut where you have different admin environment to log in. You just go there, click on it, it takes you there, which is the CMD. I think that was created by somebody, one of the Microsoft MVPs just created that, which is this cmd.ms. So if you click on that, enter, so this will take you to this place where you will now see your, so if you want to log into Microsoft Entra ID, this is it. If it's the admin, this is it here. So you can see that also it has a lot here. So you can actually use this also to just, but this is not officially by Microsoft, it's just by somebody who actually sorry, somebody is talking. So that is for that. So I just want to clarify. Hello, somebody is speaking. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. All right, so that is for that. Now, like I said we have 3 types of users, right? Now, most of us now create users. Maybe some of you have been creating users in your environment, maybe in your M365 environment or in the Microsoft Entra ID environment. Now, those users you have been creating, have you taken time to look at those users, what kind of users they are? Just like I said we have 3 types of users. We have the cloud identities, we have the directory synchronized identity, and we have the guest word users. Those are the 3 types of users that we actually have. Now, if you come to this place here, if you come up here where you go to your users, you can see you go to your users, you click on active users. So you click on this, your active users here. Now, when you click on this, your active users here, now these are all my users in my tenant. Okay, these are all my users in my tenant. But if you look at one thing now, if you look at this field now, this field, you can see you have display name, you have username, you have license, you have guest, you have sign-in status, you have sync status, you have city, you have first name, and thereabout. Now, if you look at it very well, if you look at this particular one very well, now let me just 1 second. Okay, let me go to the Entra ID environment. Let me go to my, so you can see that one better. So I'll go to my Entra ID. So if you want to go to your Entra Microsoft Entra ID environment, you come up here and click on your identity. So make sure you come to where you have all your admin centers. These are where all your admin centers. So it depends on the role that you have, that you're able to see. You can see here, I have security, I have Microsoft Purview, I have Microsoft Intune, I have identity, I have Azure, I have this because I'm a global, because this is my global tenant handle. Okay, so I'll click on this identity here. Now this will take me to my Microsoft Entra ID. So I want to show you that here so that you understand it more better. So if you come up here you come to users. Now when you come to users here, this is your users here. Now if you look at it, now you have the on-prem and you have the identities here. Now if you come here now, this is a user Ade Moses. Now what type of user is this particular one? The user type is what is member. Can you see that now? Now if you come down here now, you can see here it said on-prem sync. Okay, let me expand this one. Okay, so you have on-prem what sync enabled. If you look at it now, it said no. What does that simply mean? That simply means that these users did not sync from on-prem. They were created in this my Entra ID environment. Now if you now go down again, now let's see anyone that will show us yes. Let me go down if I can see anyone. Now you can see this one now. This is yes. Can you see yes here? This yes simply means that this user called Kate Johnson was synced from the on-prem. From the on-prem, which is the Active Directory environment. So this user was not created in this particular environment. It was not created in the cloud environment, which is in my Microsoft Entra environment or the M365 environment, admin environment. So the user was created in the Active Directory environment. And now I'm going to show you where that user is created now. I'll open my come up here. This is my VM. So I have my Active Directory environment here. So I have my server. I'll just open it here. So this is my 1025 server. I'll just open it, and then I think it's opening. Let me just drag it here. So please let me know if you can see my screen, because I'm just trying to log in. So let me know if you can see my screen. So I'm not just speaking, whereas the screen is not showing. Okay, so I want to log into my on-prem environment, okay, which is my Active Directory. So if you hear on-prem, just know that it's Active Directory. But if you hear Microsoft Entra, which is known as the what, as the cloud environment, okay. So this is here. I will log into this one. Let me log into my. Now, I'm just going to close all this now. So now this is my. Going to close all this. Now, this is my on-prem environment here. Let me, this is my on-prem environment. This place you are seeing here now. This is my Active Directory environment. Now, that user you saw, I showed you, was created in this environment. So now I will come up here. Let me open my Active Directory, which is Server Manager. I'll go for my Server Manager. Now, this is my server manager. Now I will come up here where you come to my tools. I'll click on my Active Directory and users. Sorry, you might not know. This is quite different. I'm just trying to show you different between the types of user I'm trying to explain so that you understand. So now, if you come up here, that kit, now this is my on-prem environment here. This is my organization unit here. I have HR. Here I have org users. Here I have sales users. Now, can you see now that kit you are seeing now? This is where that kit comes from. You can see her now. This is that user here now. Kate Johnson, we saw there. You can see that now this user was created here in this environment. So if I no longer want this user to appear, all I just need to do, I have to come up here and delete that user. Once I delete that user, then I need to now go back to my sync, which is this one here. I need to go back. I need to now make sure that that's now synced to my 365 environment. Oh, somebody is not muted.
Is revolving.
Okay, sorry about that. Somebody saying zoom the screen a little bit. Let me see. I hope you can see it now. I think I've zoomed it enough. I don't know if you can see. Let me know. So now this is that user Kate. Now let me go back. Now I'm going to minimize this one. Let me just minimize this frame. Now minimize this. Now can you see that Kate now? This Kate is synced from what? From the cloud. That's why you see here is saying what? Yes. Now if I go to my M365 environment here now, this place here now, if I search for that user Kate, now look at it now, Kate Johnson. You can see that now. Here is trying to tell me that sync status. When you see this thing here, when you point at this thing, you can see what it's telling me now. It says sync from what? On premises. Can you see that now? This is my M365 environment, and this is my Microsoft Entra environment. You can see the difference now. Here is showing that this user is sync from what? From the cloud. So these are things that you have to understand. It's not just creating users. You have to understand these basic things, which is very, very important. So you can see that this user is now sync from what? From my on-prem environment. And we have seen it from the on-prem environment here, that this user is from the on-prem. I did not create this user in my Microsoft Entra ID or the Microsoft admin environment. The user was created here.
Excuse me, Opeyemi.
Yes, please.
Can you just zoom in a bit? Someone in the chat is asking that you zoom
I
in
was
a
trying
bit.
to ask if the person can see it now, because hold on, let me see this my zoom, because this is I was looking how I can zoom it here. Because this is a virtual environment I'm actually working on, so it might not be, can't go beyond this. So that's what I'm asking. Can you still see it? Okay, I think what you said is okay. Okay, this is okay. All right, thank you. So that is for that. Okay, so you can see that now. So that is why when we now got to this place here is showing us this is my Entra environment. Can you see that now? Which is the identity, right? Entra environment, and this is my M365 environment, which is the admin environment. Okay, now here when I come up here, I look out for Kate. Here is showing me that on-premise sync enable is what? Yes. So mean that this user was synced from what? From the on-prem. You can see this one. The one that is not writing no means that the user are created in the cloud environment. But some can even be created in the on-prem environment, and maybe the company no longer operates on-prem environment. So what they now decide to do is to now convert those users. The users will now be converted from the on-prem environment to cloud only, and that is used. That way you can now use PowerShell to do that. So when you now come up here, it will show you as no instead of yes. Why? Because the user has now been converted from on-prem to cloud only. And that one can only be done maybe if the organization no longer want to operate on-prem any longer. They don't want prem, just the cloud environment. So once they sync their user from on-prem to the cloud environment, then they can now convert those users to just cloud only, and that can be used with use what PowerShell to do that. Okay, I wanted to show you guys how to use PowerShell to do one or two things, but I don't know, my PowerShell is just not actually, so I think I need to do something which I'm not able to do that now. So, but I'll just show you how to connect your PowerShell in case. So, but maybe some other time I might just create time and then do that if there's still time to do that. So now this is that user. So let's go back to our admin environment. So we can see that now this user, we have known that this user is now synced from the on-prem. So you can even see this sign we are seeing here. You can see the difference. Now let me close this and let me just go back. Now this is all my users. So you can see this user, Ade Moses. You can see the icon of this user. You can see when you point in it, what is it showing? In cloud. So which means that this user is what? Is a cloud what? Identity. Okay, this user is what? Is a cloud what? Identity. Now if you go down again, now let's look for another user apart from Kate. Now let's look for another user. This is Kate. Okay, I'll scroll down. Now this is another user again, Oysterman. Sorry, let me close that. This is it, Oysterman. You can see it now. This user is synced from what? On-prem. Now let me show you that user on-prem. I'm going to minimize this one and then I'll open my cloud. Come up here. Now the user, I think that user should be in this here. This user is here. Can you see it now? Oysterman is what? On-prem environment, but the user is now synced to what? To the cloud environment. Okay, so minimize. So that is for that. So we have seen that we have the cloud, and then the next one, which is the third one, which is the guest users. How do you know if a particular, remember I said that the guest users are external users, such as account, maybe like Gmail account. Let's say for example now you have a Gmail account now, and maybe your Gmail account, I want you to have access, I want to give you license on my tenant. So what I need to do, maybe the license I want to give you on my tenant is because I want you to have access to one or two resources, maybe for collaboration and thereabout. So what I now need to do is to now send an invitation to that particular person with their Gmail account or Yahoo account. Now they will now receive that email. Once they receive that invitation, then you now need to accept it. Once you now accept that invitation, automatically in my tenant environment, the user will appear as what? A guest user. Now let's look at this environment. Now let's see if we have a guest user here. Now let me scroll down. I think I should have one guest user here. I should have a guest user here. Let me just type guest. Let me see. Sorry. Guest user. See it. So let me go to my Entra, because in this Entra here, you can actually even filter it. Just come up here. Let me come to my filter now. Let me just filter it. Now here, I will come up here and say, okay, I want to look out for my guest users. Where is it? So you go down. Okay, so from here, I can even say on-prem sync. Click on this. Click on apply. You see now here, it will only display all the on-prem users for me. You can see all of them. It's called yes, yes, yes. So which means that all these users are synced from what? From the on-prem. So you can see that you can actually filter it when you come to your Microsoft, the Entra ID environment. So I'll filter it to show me all my sync users. You can see if there's no sync user, it will not display. But because there's sync users, so that's why it's actually what displaying it. Okay, so please, I'm taking time to explain this because these are basic things that most people don't understand. They just feel, oh, you just to come create a user, you just create the user. And when you are working, maybe for example, your boss tells you, go and do this one, look for this particular user, or maybe you are troubleshooting a user, you don't know what is happening. Maybe you just are troubleshooting that user. Maybe the user is complaining for one or two things, and you want to know that maybe this user was synced from on-prem or the user was created in the cloud environment. So when you know all these things, so that will also help you in doing some troubleshooting depending on what you are actually doing. Okay, so that is for that. So if I go back here now, let me close this. I'm going to filter it again. Here, let me say filter. Let me look for guest. Let me say guest user. Is it going to show as guest? I think this should show me. I think somebody is not muting their. Yes, somebody is. Tolu, you are raising up your hand. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, please. I know you have a lot of things to do, but please, can you just show us how to use that PowerShell to do that? Just and also how to invite a user. I can drop my email, please. Just can you just show us this, please?
Yes, we'll do that. How to invite a user? I'll show you that. But the PowerShell, how you can use PowerShell. PowerShell is a long, like is a like different course on its own. So we might probably, I'm not sure it's part of this. Sorry, can you just mute yourself?
Okay.
Sorry, thank you. So for the PowerShell is a different thing entirely. Okay, so there are some basic things you need to understand first before going to PowerShell. Like I said, I wanted to do the basic one, but my environment, I don't know what's happening. My PowerShell, my system was not working. I did it on my work laptop at work, and it was fine. Now I tried to use it, and it's just my function is so, which I don't have time to do the troubleshooting for now. But let's see how it goes. If there's time to do that, we'll definitely let you know how to do those PowerShell scripting. That's the basic one at least. So here I'll come up here. Let me see. Do I have a guest user? Okay, yes. Yeah. Now this is a guest user here. Can you see this one now? This is my guest user. If you click on this particular user, I say user type is guest user. Now, if you come up here now, here where you have on-prem sync enable, it is no. It's telling me no because this user was not synced from on-prem. But if you look at this identity type here now, this way I have identity. The user is what? Is a Microsoft account. So this user is what is this, so which means that this particular account, if I click on this user here now, click on it here. Now this is the user here now. if you come up here, here you will now see this is the name of that user. This is the identity, which is the user principal name. You can see here you have EXT, which means that external user. That means that this user is what is an external what user. Okay. So this user was an external user. So that's how you can know. So those are the three types of users we have in our environment. You can either have the cloud identity, you can either have the directory sync identity, or you can have what the guest users. Okay. And I believe by now we already understand how you can identify these users. Okay, I think if I go here, you're able to identify user from the the Microsoft 365 environment. But mostly it's good to just use your identity, the Microsoft Entra environment. So this is quite easy to make you, it will show you what you actually want to see better. Okay, so that is for that. Okay, so any question to that? So I believe we all now know the three types of users and also how you can identify those users. Okay. So any question regards to that? Okay. So that is for that. Now, when you have your users, now I'm going to create a particular user here. Now I'm going to create a particular user in my M365 environment, and I will create one in my on-prem environment, and then you will see how they work. Now, if I come up here, you all know how to create a user. I can create a user, come up here, add a user. Like some of you that are writing, maybe some of you that want to do the apply skills, especially the Entra ID one. Now you will see that from that apply skill, they will tell you to create a user, maybe using your using your Entra environment. But when you create that user, they will not say assign a license to that user. But they will not tell you because it's a tax. They won't tell you where to go and assign the license to that user because it's a tax. They expect you to know it. That's why that apply skills is quite different from the certification where you just go and write exam, which is normal. The exam, anybody can pass it. It's just you can even, some people can cram it and just go the pass. But the apply skills is a tax. They won't tell you how to do. All things they will just tell you that execute this tax, do this, do that, and when you finish, you submit, and then it will now scan through it. That scan through it now, it will now see how you actually carry out that tax, and then you now get your mark. So that is for that. Now, if I come up here in my admin environment, I want to create a user now. Just assume that you don't know how to create a user. Now I'll create a user. Now let me see, who can I create? Let me just pick somebody randomly. Okay, so let me use Koforoma. Sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. Okay, last name Tolu. Toluwa Lashe. Hope I got it. All right, so here I'm going to come up here, the user display name, and then the username, the display name. Now, this username here is very, very important. Please take note of it. Is what is very, very important in every organization. And every organization has what we call naming convention. That is how they create their users. Some organizations, when they create their user, might be first name dot last name, or some can just be first name, maybe just the first character, the initial character of the first name with the last name, there's no dots. So it's different. So that when you're working at an organization, and it's always good to ask, or maybe when you see some of their user on the tenant, you already know that okay, this is the convention. But it's always good to ask so that you don't go and, maybe when they ask you to set up a user, you don't go and use a different naming convention which will be conflicting. Okay, so it's always good to ask. So it's very, very important. This username is very important. So if you look at my own environment here, how I created my user, I use first name dot last name. So that's what I'm going to use now. So I'll come up here, type the first name of that user, of that particular dot the last name. So please take note of that. It's very, very important. Now, this is my domain. Here is the domain at gemtechit.com. Now, this particular domain you are seeing here, I think there's still going to be a somebody's going to take you how to sync user from your on-prem to. That's why I can see I didn't show you the process. So I think there's a particular course subject on that, which somebody is going to take you on that. So now, this particular domain you are seeing here now, if you are syncing, if you have an on-prem user, if you come up here, this is my on-prem. Let me go back to my on-prem. Let me just minimize. Sorry. On-prem, come up. I don't know why it's not coming up. Sorry. Okay, let me stop sharing and then okay, hold on first. I'll stop sharing and then share back again. That's 1 second. Okay. I think it's still doing the same thing. I'll just share my screen back and now. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to share my screen back, share back now. So it's not showing. I'll just stop. I'll stop it and then start it again. So stop. And then I will turn it on again. I don't know what's wrong with this. Why it's not coming up? Okay, sorry. Because of our time, I'll come back to that. So now here, what I want to try to explain is that this your domain you are seeing here must be the same thing you have in your on-prem. Okay, so it's very, very important too. So here I'll just say create a user, click on my next. Here, come up here. Now I'm creating this user and I'm not going to assign any license to this user. I'll come up here, I'll say create license, create without product license, come up here next, and then I'll come up here and now click on finish. Now, this user has been created for me. If I come up here and now type, now this user that I create now, this user will not have access to anything in my organization. Irrespective of I've created that user. Now, if I want to log into the user, I'm not able to log into the user. The reason being is because of what the license has not been created. The license has not been created. Now, what is a license? What is a license? Can anybody tell us what is a license? Some of you will be creating user, be assigning license to the user. What is a license? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Speak. You can mute yourself now.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Mr.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my understanding on the license is the right or the privilege you might have on a particular account based on what is assigned to you by the admin of the tenant.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, Emmanuel, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. For me, a license is like authorizing you to use a particular service. So a license is tied to a particular service that you want to have access to. So when you are being licensed, it gives you gives the user a right to use that particular service.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. Okay. Tolua. Or Tolu, let me just say Tolu.
Yeah, I think the license is like it gives you access to the application. Organization uses to function in their day-to-day activities. It could be like Microsoft 365 or whatever it is that they use, basic developer or something like that. But you need it to be able to function every day at work or something like that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bumi, I think somebody said Bumi. Okay.
All right, I
think
think
the
a
last person I'll
license
take.
is a particular permission given to users to be able to perform certain function.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everyone. I think we have all said well. Okay, we have all the answers are actually correct. Okay, now so you must understand that your license. Let me put that word. License is a subscription base. So put it that word, because when you use that word subscription base, it makes you to understand that is you are now using like a professional terms. Okay, so a license is what is a subscription-based permission that gives a user access to specific Microsoft services and application. That is it. Why do we say it's a subscription-based? Because this license, you are having it for a particular time being. Maybe you want to give license, maybe you just say for just a particular month. So if you don't subscribe, just like for example now you have a Netflix. You have your Netflix. Now, why are you able to use Netflix? Because you subscribe, and then you now automatically have what? A license to have to use what? The features of what? Of that Netflix. So like this user I created now, this user, if I say okay, if I say Tolu, now draft a letter for me in Microsoft Word. And I give her this credential, I give her a password and everything. Now, she will not have access to be able to do that. Or let's say I say, okay, baby, let's say I say, okay, join a particular meeting with your Microsoft Teams account. She will not be able to do that. The reason being is because I have not assigned a license to her. License has not been assigned to her. For the fact that she's in our tenant does not give her access to to resources. So license is is a subscription based permission. So for her to be able to have that permission to join meeting with Teams, she needs a license. For her to have permission to make use of Microsoft Word, she needs a license. So that is it. So take note of that. I know that this license can be per user or per group. So you can assign a license per user or per group base. Per user simply means that if I come up here, this is the user here. I want to assign license to her. I created an account, but I didn't assign the license to her. When you're creating the account, you can assign the license, or you can see I said do not assign a license. That's why that was the option I choose. So now I want to assign a license to this user. I'll now click on here. You can see this dot here. Click on this dot here. You now say manage product license, or you just click on it. Any of the two. Sorry, somebody is mute. Somebody is on mute. Can you please mute yourself? Can we please mute ourselves, please, so that we don't distract the class? Thank you very much. So now, this is this user. Now, for me to now assign a license to this user, I'll come up here, license and app. Click on here. Then you now come up here. Now, these are all my license I have in my tenant. Okay? These are all my licenses I have in my tenant. Now I can now decide to give her a license. Now, these licenses are now in different types. We now have the E5, we have the E3, and I think we have the F, that's something like F3 or thereabout. Yeah, we have the E5, we have the E3. Okay. Now, this license will give you access to what you need to do. Now, once I do that, if I come up here, Now, for me, before I click on save, scroll down. I'll come up and scroll down. Now, when you click on this license, can you see what you have under here? You can see you have apps. If I click on these apps, now these are the things this person can have access to. If I now come down here now, if I come down here, if I scroll down, let me scroll down. And now if I come here and then I now remove a certain license, if I remove a certain application, let me say I want to remove Teams. Let me go. Where is Teams? Let me go. Oh, okay. Now this is your Microsoft Teams here. You can see that now. This is the Microsoft Teams. If I uncheck this, it means that this user will log in. We have access to every other thing, but she will not have access to use Teams. Because of what? I have unchecked Teams from her license. The same way applies to when you subscribe to Netflix. They will let you, it depends on your subscription that will determine what they will give you. You understand? Here we have the E5, we have the E3. But I'm assigning E5 license to this user, but I said, okay, I don't want her to have access to Teams. I now uncheck these Teams. I click on save. If she not want to try to log into Teams, she will be struggling. Why? Because of what? This one has now been what? Unchecked from the license. So I'll just check it back. I'll click on it back. So I'll now click on my save. Now the license has been assigned to these users. But if you look at it now, my license I have in my organization, you can see I have 6 of 25 license. So which means that this tenant, I have just 25 license and I have just 6 left out of that 25 license. Okay, now I've done that. I've assigned license to her, so now she can actually log in. But if you assign if you come up here and you create this user here, okay, let me go back to my Entra ID. If I come back to my Entra ID here now, let me come up here and let me create a user. I just want to show you so that you understand the difference. Now create another user. I'll come up here, new users. I'll click on create user. So don't forget to create a user. You come up here. It might be like this. So you come to this Entra ID. At times it might be like this, and you wonder, where is it? Where is it? I can't find it. I can't find it. Or you just click on this down here and now go to users. Okay, and then you come up here, new users. Click on create users. If I come up here, let's say I want to create a user now, and I want to apply. I want to assign license to that user. I'll just say food tech. Let me just create a user. Let me just create somebody. I'll just create a random name. I'll just say food tech. Now here I'll come up here, give it the display name. I'll say food tech. Okay, let me just say food.tech. That is the name. Let me just remove that. Space it. Oh, sorry. Food tech. I'll come up here. I'll now click on my next. Don't always forget that you need to pick your domain. Okay, here. So come up here, click on your next. Now here I'll now populate the name here. First name I say food. Second, the last name I want to give a tech. Now here the user type here should be what? Member. So leave it at member. Now job title, you can apply your job title, put company, you fill all this one, but I don't need that. Now I'll come down here, just go down, next, and just ignore this one. Now look at something I'm ignoring now. Just now, I'll just come up and click on my next. Once I click on next, I'll come up and say next again, and I'll say create. Now this user will be created for me. Food tech. This is food tech. Now I've created this user called food tech. Now who can tell us where I need to assign a license to this user? This user was created in my Entra ID environment. Who can tell us where we can assign license to this user? JB. Okay, what you?
So,
Need to go to the
hello, good
admin center.
afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
So,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
So you need to go to the Microsoft Admin Center to assign a license to the user.
Thank you very much. That is it. As simple as that. Because even when you are reading the documentation of Microsoft, it will tell you that if you create a user here, you have to go to your admin environment and assign a license to that user. The same thing you find when you are doing the apply skills. They will tell you to create the user here. When you create the user, and they will say assign a license. So some people might come up here and now say, okay, how can I assign a license? Oh, come here. No, you cannot assign a license. If I click on this food tech here now, here, this is the food tech. I've created this user, but I can't log into this user here if there is no license. So I need to come up here and now look for that user, which is food tech. I can search for that user, food tech, enter. This is the user here. Click on it, and then go to your license, and then come up here, apply the license, and then you save it. That's all. Oluwafemi, you want to ask a question? Your hand is up. Oluwafemi, do you want to ask a question?
No,
Okay.
I want to answer the question, but it's fine. I'll wait for my answer. I'm sorry.
Sorry, say that again.
I wanted to answer the question before, but
Oh, all right.
it's been
Okay,
answered.
all right. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. AGK, your hand is up.
Hi, good afternoon. Just a quick question concerning the licenses. For a security engineer role, or as a security engineer, especially in the cloud, is it within your job description to pick and choose which licenses get applied to each individual, or is there a separate role or department for that? Like, for example, when someone gets onboarded, what each person requires to do their job, does that fall under the security engineer?
No, but it now depends on your organization. If you have a small scale organization, you'll definitely be doing everything. If it's a small scale organization, you'll be doing it. But if it's a big, like, enterprise organization, so a cloud security person will not be doing this, but you need to have that knowledge. You need to know what is going on. You want to secure things. Now, you need to know what you want to secure. Okay, as a cloud security personnel, so you need to know what you want to secure. You need to understand one or two things to secure. Okay, so that's why. But this is not the job description of a cloud security engineer. But like I said, if it's a small organization, maybe, for example, organization, they said they put it as part of the job description, and you don't know how to do it. So it means that you can't go for that role. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So that is for that. So I'll come up here, I'll apply the license, and I'll click on save. Then this user has that user has that license to him or her. Okay, so it is very, very important. Okay, so like I said, it now depends on the license that you have in your organization. Some organizations usually have the E5 license and the E3 license. The difference is just that the E5 license includes advanced security and analytics, and then whereas the E3 license is just basically the standard business feature. So it depends on the organization. So most organizations use the E5 and they assign the E3 to some set of users, and some I think they have the F5, which is that one is for the frontline workers. Okay, so there are different license based. Okay, so that's for that. Now the next one I now want to do now is, remember that I showed you a user that was synced from our on-prem to our M365 environment, and one of that user is what? Is Kate. Okay, Kate. Now if I come up here now, if I type Kate, this is the user here, Kate Johnson. Now if I want this Kate Johnson to have license, I want her to be able to collaborate with my teams. I want her to collaborate, or I want her to have access to one or two things, because she's coming from the on-prem, and the on-prem, there's nothing like license. So for her to have access to those products, I need to assign a license to her. So you need to come up here You now need to come here the same way you click on here, and then you go to your licenses and then give her that particular license you want her to have. Then thereabouts, you can go to office.com and then log in and then make use of your Office 365 product. Okay, so if you sync a user from the on-prem to the cloud, you need to assign a license to that user. Okay, so take note of that. So that is for that. Any question regarding that before we move forward? Any question? All right. Okay. Now the next one is like Chechuku. Okay, you have a question. Yes, can you mute yourself?
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Okay. My question is, before you can get a license, do you need a particular subscription, or the license is free?
So what do you mean by a particular subscription? I don't get.
I mean, like, are you going to subscribe for the license, or is coming as a free listing, or it's coming free?
No, it's not coming free. Now your license simply means that when you now have your tenant, let's say, okay, for example, now like, so not for example, like some people have been signing up to their tenant, signing up to Microsoft 365 environment tenant. Now, when you sign up to that environment, as you are signing up to that environment, that gives you license. It comes with those license. So if you say E5, if Microsoft decides to give you those E5, they will not give you license that comes with that particular tenant. Okay. Now, if for example, now I have my tenant, my organization, I want to start organization. Now I subscribe to Microsoft tenant environment, and now I have 300 users in my organization. And in my environment, if you look at this tenant here, and I have just 25 license. So what does that simply mean? That simply means that I need to go and buy extra license, more license to that users. Okay. And so when you are signing up for any of these, if you are signing up for this Microsoft 365 tenant environment, it comes with those licenses. So those licenses are subscription based. So which you pay monthly or you pay yearly. If you don't pay, you don't get access. Okay. So that's why license is very, very important. So it's not free. It's something you pay for. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, Jennifer.
Okay.
Come meet yourself.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, please. I want to ask. It's about the license and also the Entra ID premium. I'm kind of confused. So what do they mean by I know we have E3 license and we have E5 license. But now, coming back to it, I'm seeing that we now have Entra P1, P2. So I want to understand, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, you see that if you have the E3, you automatically have P1, or if you have the E5, you automatically have P2. So I want to really understand what that means.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that. So I think one thing I will advise everyone on this call to go and do is that go and get maybe if I can get the link, go and get those documentation on Microsoft documentation. Understand licenses, because that license you are seeing is like is a huge thing that even some people don't really understand it very well. Okay, so it's understandable when people are lost in license. So it's always good to understand how this license work. Now, back to your question. Now, if you subscribe to a particular license, let's say you have the E5 license or you have the E3 license. Now, when you have the E5 license, now that E5 license is the license that now comes with different kinds of features that you can use. It comes with an advanced security features and different features you can actually use in your M365 environment. So that's why at times when you come to this place now, if you look at this, my license here now, let me go to my licenses. I'll go to my come up here, billing. I'll come to my licensing. Now, these are all, so I think it's still booting. So it's taking time. So let me refresh that. Okay, so why is this thing slow today? Come on. Okay, let me go to product. Let me solve down or come out on time. It didn't find now. Okay, now this is the product I have here now. If you look at this place now, I have the Microsoft 365 E5 developer, and we have the Microsoft Copilot Studio. I have the Microsoft Entra Internet Access. I have the Microsoft Entra Suite Trial. I have the Power App, and I have the Power Automate. All these you are seeing are products, are licensed. All these are products. Now, if you now look at it, now you have assigned license. Now, it means that this particular product here, now this one here, this E5, the license under it are just 25. Can you see that now? Purchase quantities are 25. This one here now, the Copilot one is about, this is 10,000. Can you see that now? And this one here is just 25. This is 25. So it goes on like that. Now, it does depend on the one you have that will determine whether if you want to use your Entra ID environment. If you come up here now, if I click on overview now, this is giving me what? The Microsoft Entra ID P2 Premium 2. Now, this Microsoft ID Premium 2 here allows me to now carry out an advanced word features. But if peradventure my product license is not E5, maybe let's say it's E3, it might not support it. So that's why I said you need to go back to those licenses and now see how this license actually work. So this one means that I can use my Microsoft Entra ID P2. There are some features it carries depending on what I want to do. You see all these licenses you are seeing here. It didn't come with my tenant. Some I subscribe to them. Some are, they are trial version because of what I want to do. So whatever you want to do, we did now determine the extra product you will now use and then the license that now comes with it. Okay, let's say for example, now we know that our Microsoft Teams, we can make normal call, like just the way you dial numbers on your phone. You can do that in your Microsoft Teams. But before you can do that, you need a certain license to be able to do that. So for the fact that you say, oh, I come up here, oh, I have my E3, E5 license, does not mean that is all. I still need another extra product, which is called the calling license. That will now enable me to now do normal dialing numbers on Teams environment and then call a normal phone. Okay, so it depends on the kind of license, depends on also what you want to do. That okay, let's say now I want to do conditional access. And I think that should be I think you guys should do it by tomorrow or the next week. Conditional access. If I want to do conditional access, if my license is not this particular, which is E5, I might not be able to do that because it does not have the features to do that. So it means that I cannot be able to do any conditional access policy because of what my license, this product I have is not there. So I need to go down and get the E5, or I get an extra add-on. Okay, so like I said, licensing is like a course on its own separately, which if we start talking about it, some people might even get lost on the way. Okay, so I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Somebody's asked one more. Charles, sorry, can we please just save our question for now so that I'm able to dissect on the practical we need to do today, so that before we now come back to the question. Okay, so please just take note of your questions, and please I will answer them as when we finish, so that we can have time to do one or two practicals. Okay, sorry about. So Charles, please just put your hand down, and then please just save your question and remind me. Okay, sorry about that because of our time. Now, so that is for that. So we have seen how we can actually create user, like I told you, apply license to these users, and see how the license work. Like I told you, you sync a user from the on-prem, you need to apply a license to that user. Okay. Now, the next one now is how to delete and restore a user. As simple as that is, it can also be complicated. That's why you see at times it's always good to understand these basics. Don't just jump. Oh, this is not what I want, and then you just vermouth, and then tomorrow you are now face an interview, and then you get issue. Okay, so please, it's very, very important. This, like, I'm the kind of person that if I see maybe in my community I have someone that wants to do a training on one of them, I join those training and I listen. I won't say because this is so big, I've known it. I just know I still listen, because there's one or two things that I will gain from that particular training. So it's very, very important. Now, deleted users. Now, if you come up here now, if you come to our users here, if you come up here, active users. Now, let's say I want to delete this user I created, food tech. Now, this food tech, sorry, let me assign a license to that user before I delete it. I just want you to see something. Assign license to that user. Now I've assigned the license to that user. I will refresh. Now this user, I say I want to delete this user. Now, when you are deleting a user, let's say a user, you want to offboard a user. Maybe this user is no longer working out again. Then now you now delete that user. Now, when you delete a user that has a license, automatically that license now become available for another user. When you delete, so that does not mean that when you delete that user, that license is deleted. No, the license now is available to another user. If I click on this place, now let's click on this place. I want to show you something. Go back to our license. You can see that I have 5 licenses left, right? 5 licenses I have left. Now, if I come up here now, I delete this user. Click on delete. Now, when you are deleting a user, look at this. It's going to tell you, said, are you sure you want to delete this user? He said you can restore deleted user and recover their data for calendar items and alias for up to 30 days. So which means that when you delete a user, the user now remain in a state called deletion state, okay? Which is known as the soft delete. It's known as what? As the soft delete. That user remain in that state. Now, for what? 30 days. But if I now decide to now go to where that user is, I now delete it again completely, which is permanent deletion. That is now what we call the hard delete. So which means that that user will now go permanently. There is nothing you want to do. That user cannot be restored. Even if you raise ticket to Microsoft, they cannot restore that user for you. So that's why you need to be sure. But some users, if peradventure this user, you still need the mailbox of that user, then you cannot apply what we call retention policy on that user. That is a different thing entirely. But we are just trying to discuss this because it's also related to the cloud security. Okay. Now, so if I click on this delete now, look at it now. It said food tech has been deleted. Click on close. Now, if I now go back, if I refresh now, I go back here. Let me just click on this particular user here. If I go to licenses, you can see now, I now have 6 license back. Before, the license I have left was 5. But because I've deleted that user, now the license now automatically goes back to to my license assignment. It go back to the state where that license is. The license will not go with the user. So if I now go back here, if I want to now see that user I deleted, if you come up here, you have deleted users. Now this is the user I deleted. These are all my users I've deleted here. All my users I've deleted. Can you see that now? Now, depending on the role that you have, some role that you have, you'll not be able to delete users. And some roles that you have, when they delete users in your organization, or let's say, for example, now somebody just come, this user has been deleted, and I say I want to restore that user, I'll click on here. I will not see this restore here. Why? Because of the role I have does not permit me to restore that user. And there are some roles that you have does not permit you to delete the user. There's something called role, and something called license. So these things are quite different. So if I want to restore this user, I can restore it because of I'm a global administrator. That is the role I have. I'm a global administrator. So I can restore this particular user. Okay? So that is for that. But one thing that now also happens, like for example now, if you are trying to do something and they say, okay, get me the ID of a particular user. Let's say this user now. Let me go back to my users, active users. Now, this user I created now, Kofo. What is that name again? Sorry, not. All right. Now, this user here now, this user. Now, if they tell you that, okay, get me the ID of this user, you now begin to say, what do my ID? Your ID. What's doing my ID? Because that sometimes you want to do some PowerShell scripting, and what you need is the user ID and not the UPN, which is, you don't need the UPN. What you need is the user ID. But if you come to this, your admin environment here now, where is user ID here? There's no user ID. How do I get user ID? To get a user ID, you come up here, your Entra environment, the Microsoft Entra environment, you come up here, search for that user. You come up here and search for that user. Enter. Then you click on that user here, and then you will now get the user ID. You can see that this is it, user ID, which is known as the object ID here. You see, they can say object ID. They can say user ID. Most times they say user ID. They don't say object ID. So this is the user ID here. This is what they are simply referring to. But you can see that we cannot see that in our admin environment. You can only see that here in your in your in your Microsoft Entra environment. Can you see that now? So you can see these are little things that you begin to say, and when they ask you, say, okay, so that is for that. Now, this user I deleted. Let me go to my deleted users. That user we deleted. Now, let's go back to that deleted users. Now, if I come up here now, this is my deleted users. I can come up here. If I say, okay, this user I have here now, I don't want this user here again. I don't want to see this user in my tenant. I don't need this user. I want to delete this user. If I come up here now, where is delete now? Where is delete? Cannot delete. You say, then you now say, oh, I can't even delete this user permanently. I don't want this user to even stay here for 30 days. I want to delete the user completely. So in your M365 environment, you cannot completely delete. What you just did was the soft delete. Now you want to now perform the hard delete. Those are the terms you'll be hearing. Soft delete, hard delete. Now I want to delete this user completely. And I've come to my M365 environment here. I can only see restore. And I'm a global administrator, but I can't see delete. So how do I delete this user? I have to now go to my Entra ID. Then come up here. Come up here. Go to your users. Come up here. Go to your users, and then look for the deleted user. Can you see now? Deleted users. Click on that. Then now look for that user. This is the full check. Click on the user, and then you can now what? Permanently what? Delete user. Click on it. It will tell you, it say all data for these users will be irrevocably deleted. Are you sure you want to continue? Once I hit yes, that user is gone and is gone for life. Do we understand? So these things are very, very important. These are things I usually tell you, but these are basic. Some people because you are not seeing what you want to see, and you just feel that, oh, they are okay, I'm okay. No, even some experts, some people that are even expert. I mean, Microsoft community, you are some expert at some little things that people that did basic understand. Now some of them, especially when they come to Microsoft Azure, some people will not be wondering that, how come this person don't know? It's because they feel that it's not their job role. But at times it's always good to know them, because you don't know where you meet yourself and the question will be asked to you. So it's very, very important. So if I come up here, I can now delete this user completely. I'll now click on the user is gone for life. If I refresh it here, if I come here and say refresh, the user is gone. If I go to my M365 environment, come up here, I'll now click on refresh, the user is gone. That user has been deleted. So I can no longer restore that user. Is that understood? Okay, so that is for that. Okay, so when you permanently will delete user, and you need to have you have to be a global administrator user, or you have to be a user administrator to be able to perform that particular operation. Like I said, it's not everybody that they will give that role to be able to do that, because they are very, very sensitive. There's some roles that are very, very sensitive. Okay, so in order to be able to do that. Now, so that is for that. Then the next one now is how to, let me see what's now. The next one is now how to create and manage groups. How you can manage groups. Now, what is groups in Microsoft 365 environment? What is groups? Now, Microsoft groups helps organize users and permission management. It helps to organize users and permission management. Somebody is raising up hand. Charles, okay, I'll just take question from Charles because you've wanted to ask question before. Are you asking another question or that same one? Charles,
yes,
now you can
yes.
yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
you. Not the first question. This one came during deleting of users that you're just explaining. So that's why I want to ask question based on that. Now, if you now discover that the user that you delete permanently, that you just delete permanently, that you find out that okay, this person now should be incorporated back to the generation. Can you still create the user and give the user the same license to still continue and get the other information about the user to continue his work from where he started?
Now, thank you for that question. Now, when you permanently delete a user, just like what you said, can you still create that user? Yes, you can still create that user with that same name in your organization, because you have permanently delete that user. But if peradventure, sorry, Charles, I think you need to mute yourself. Thank you. So, but if it depends on what scenario, okay? It depends on what scenario. Now, if maybe you just want to reinstate that user back to your organization, and then maybe they are not having access to anything, maybe their emails any longer, they don't need those former email that has gone. Yes, it's perfect. But if you want them to now have access to the emails they have with that previous account, the same account that has been deleted. Now, once you delete that user, if retention policy was not installed on that user account, they cannot get that email back even when you recreate them back. Okay, that email is gone. So that's why in organizations, when you do offboarding of users, when you offboard users, okay, you don't actually, when you offboard users, their email at times you either assign their inbox to another person, which mostly is to the manager. You assign it to the manager, so that in case if there's an email maybe like a receipt or invoice that they need, and that invoice is in that user's inbox. So the manager can actually retrieve that particular receipt and then make use of it, okay? Because the user is no longer in the organization and the account has been deleted. So if there's a retention hold on it, so the user, you can just, the only thing you just need to do, they can have access to those emails back, okay? But once you delete a user completely, permanently, the whole resources, anything they have, is gone.
All right. So that's it's good for you when you create a user to be able to activate the retention policy so that the user, if short things happen, then you can still retain the user and still manage everything all together.
Yes, so it depends. Because of storage and compliance, okay. In organization compliance, okay. Because of storage, compliance, security, those are things you also look at. So, but not for compliance sake. Nobody should have access to a user who has left our organization inbox any longer. Okay. Yeah, I think somebody said okay. Or if you can convert, you can also convert their mailbox, okay, to a shared mailbox before permanently. These are practice you can also do. So you can convert it to a shared mailbox or the retention hold. Okay. Sorry, please. For now, question. I just answer Charles because he asked first question. We couldn't answer. Because of time, please. I want us to just pause on questions for now, please. All right. So the next one we are going to now is how to configure and manage groups. Okay. I told you, I said groups helps users simplify permission management. Okay. Let's say in a case where I need to assign a license to a user. Let's say in the case where I need to assign license to users and I don't want to do per user. Okay. I have 100 users in my organization. Now, does that mean that I now start assigning license to those 100 users? Does that now mean that I now assign 100 license to those users? No. What you can now do, it depends on the company policy also. Okay, it depends on the company policy. So what you now need to do, you now need to create a group and now assign a license to that group. So once you assign a license to that group, automatically the users in that group will now inherit that license. And now I have a question. Just pay attention. This is my question. Now, if I have, how many of us are on this call now? We have 56 people on this call. Now, if I onboard these 56 people in my tenant right now, and now I want to assign a license to them individual. I want to assign a license to these users. Okay. Now, these 56 people now, I created a group. I put them inside the group. Now, who can tell me how many licenses are we going to have? How many licenses should we have in our tenants for that license to go around?
Look at 57.
So you should have 56.
1.
Okay, somebody say 1. Okay, somebody say 57, 56. Okay.
No, if the number of users that is in the group is 56, then you should have 56 licenses available.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
All right.
It depends on the
Thank
license. One license, depend on the license you want to assign.
But,
Okay. All right.
My own
Thank
view
you.
is that if you assign one license to the group, all the members belong to that group will inherit that particular license you assign to the group. So it's 1.
Okay, 1. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
If we are assigning license to a particular group with 56 users, we only need one license. But if we are assigning it individually to all of the users in the group, then that means 56 licenses. But in total, if it's a group, one license is all we need.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much. I thank you for your engagement. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Now, it shows that
this is
sorry.
This is the question that I was about to ask. This thing now borders to that question I was trying to ask you about the licensing. Because when you said 25 license, I say if you have like 300 people in the organization, can those licenses go around those 300 persons?
Thank
That
you.
is the question I
Thank you.
intended to ask. Yes.
All right. So you can see now we have come back to your question. So you can thank you for that. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for that answer. Okay. Thank you for your contribution. It's really appreciated. Now, this is now the trick. I was also in that state before when I started. I said, okay, if we, in fact, I haven't tried one time. I said, okay, this one should reduce my cost now. Maybe it's just one group I created. I can add 40 people, and all of them will just have all of them will just share that one license. But that is not the case. That is not what the case. So, which means that if let's say now everybody in this group, like I said, we are 57, right? We have 57. Now, let's say we have this 57 now. And I created a group, and I called that group Cloud Security Bootcamp Group. Now, and I add everybody to that group, and I assign a license to that particular group. Now, if I don't have up to 57 license in my tenant, the whole 57 people will not have that license. It simply means that if I have just 5 licenses, it's only 5 people that will have that license. Okay, but the only thing I think I've not tried to experiment is if I have that 57 and I have just 5 licenses, is it that it's going to assign the license to the first 5 people, or how? That's what we've not experiment. So which you are going to maybe that will maybe be your own assignment to go and see how it works.
So
okay.
The only advantage is to streamline the management.
All right. So now the thing that, so by now you should now understand that if you have 57 people and you add them to that group, know that you must have that 57 license. If it's 300 people and you add them to that group, know that you must have 300 license to go around to them. So I believe that has answered Charles' question now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank
you. Yes, it has answered. So it's business they are making. It's just business. That's what I've seen there.
All right.
Sell those licenses. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, Microsoft Entra ID support 2 main types of group. 2 main types of what? Of group, which we have the security group and we have the Microsoft 365 groups. Now, the security group is used to control access to resources like files, app, devices, and is ideal for security policy. Okay, that is for the security group. And then we now have the Microsoft 365 group. This one is designed for collaboration, which members automatically get a shared mailbox calendar, SharePoint site, and many more. Now, this is now my question. I will know whether you are paying attention or not. Now, who can tell us if you can tell us out of these 57 people we have on this call now, the 7 persons we have on this call now, and we created a group. We want to create a group by name Cloud Security Bootcamp. Who can tell us, are we going to create the security group or the M365 group to be able to assign a license to them? Who can answer that question? Can try.
M365 group.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lovina. Yeah. Oguntoye James.
Security group.
Security group. All right, thank you, Tolu. Yes, AKGK. Okay. Okay, somebody, Jennifer, say M365 group. Okay. All right.
Sorry, you need security groups. Sorry, my mic was muted.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, if you listen to what I said we have what? The Microsoft Entra environment support what? 2 main types of group, which is what? security, and the M365 group. Now, I said security group used to control access to resources. And I said files, apps, devices. And then I said the M365 groups is designed for collaboration, which means that member automatically get a shared mailbox calendar, SharePoint site, and others. So you can see that it's security group that we can use for that purpose. So when you want to assign a license to a group, that group has to be what? A security group. That's all. If it's not a security group, you cannot assign a license to that group. Is that understood? Now let's see it now. Now we'll go to our portal now. Now this is my M365 environment here now. I will not do it here. I'll go to my I'll go to my Entra ID environment. Now this is my Entra ID environment here. I'll come up here. Now I want to create a group now. Okay, I want to create a group. I told you how to. Here you come up here. Don't always forget that these things might be collapsed like this. So if you are creating them, it's always good to know the session where all these things are. You understand? It's very, very important. So you don't just like, oh, I can create group and somebody just asks you. Sometimes there are times you need to walk some people through offhand. You are not even seeing anything. So you just say, okay, go to M365, do this on. Where are they clicking? You now say, okay, go to M3, go to Entra ID, click on group, and they now come here. They are not looking for group. Where is group now? I can't find group here. But you need to go to what? Entra ID. These are things, these are basic things that are very, very important to take note of. They look basic, but you look at it, they are simple, but at times they can force somebody off. So you have to come to here, you come to your Entra ID, and then this is where you now see groups. Click on groups. Okay, so when you click on these groups here now, you will now come up here, click on these groups, click on groups here. Now, if you come to this place here now, here you click on this, your new group. When you click on new group, you have group type. Click down here. You can see you have security and what? M365. Can you see that now? We have what? Security and what? M365. Does it mean that we cannot create it in our admin environment? We can. We can also do that. So how do you do that here? You come up here. Let me collapse all these things so that you see what we are doing. Okay. Now everything is collapsed here now. You come up here where you have your users. Click on that users here. And now, sorry. So come up here. You come to this place here. You come to here where you have your users. At times you click on this your users here. Collapse this one. You come up here. You have teams, and then you now click on active teams and groups. Charles, can you please mute yourself, please? Charles, mute yourself. Thank you. So you click on active teams and group. Click on that. When you now click on that, when you click on active teams and group, you now come up here. Now here in your M365 environment, you have teams and Microsoft 365 groups, distribution list, security group. So you now come to this your security group here and now click on say add. So if you come up here we now have add security group and we have add a mail enable security group. So can you see that now? So I can either use this one or this one to create that group and then assign. So this group, these two groups here, I can create these two groups and assign license to it. It will work. Okay, but mostly you use this one, which is the add a security group. Click on that and then you populate those names there. The same way you come up here, you can see, but here you have to come up here and select and say security group. That is if you want to assign a license to that group. So here I want to create cloud security. I'll come up here and say cloud security bootcamp. Okay? Cloud Security Bootcamp. Sorry, please, if you have a question, you can put it in the comment section or just hold on. Because of our time, I might not be able to answer questions now so that I can quickly finish this. So here, I'll come up here, click on I'll put the name here. I'll now put the description. Now, this description here, group description, is very, very important when you're working in an organization. The reason why you put description here is because when you leave that organization, whoever takes over will know the reason why that group was created. So you don't leave them in a dark. So that's why you see description is very, very important. But we can choose to ignore it. But in the production environment, please don't ignore it. Put something there so that if you are no longer in that organization, somebody can reference to that group and okay, this group was created for social purpose. Okay, so here I'll come up here. Here, this is Microsoft Entra role can be assigned to group. In this one here, you click on no. This one now has to do with Microsoft Entra role. Can you see that role? But we are not talking about role, so I'm going to ignore that. Somebody is going to take you on role. So you can also assign a role to a group. But this one, I want to assign a license to a group. So if it's a role I want to assign to that group, I need to click on this yes to be able to assign a role to that group. If I don't click on that yes, it will not work. But since it's no role I'm assigning to it, I can just leave it at that no. And then the group member type, I can come up here and either choose assign, dynamic, or say dynamic device. So all this one is another thing entirely. I think we should be able to treat a dynamic user. I just hope we have much time to do that. So click on this. I'll just leave it on assign. Then here, the owner. Click on here. You type the owner. You come up here. Owner is very, very important. I can give it to myself, which is I'm the admin. So owner is very, very important in our organization. So if you are setting up a group for, let's say for maybe you want to set it for HR team. Okay, you need to ask them who do you want to use as the owner. So you can the name you can search for that person and then assign it to that owner. Okay. So I'll click on that. And then here I'll now click on members. So can you see that this members here now? Can you see that this is members? So here I'm going to ignore this one for now. Just leave this for now. I'll just leave that blank here. So here now I'll come up here. If I want to now add member, I'll now add every members I have in the cloud security group camp. I'll add them here. So once I add them in that place, and then I now assign a license to that group, automatically they will have license. But I'll not do that. I'll come back to that. So that I just want to show you something. I'll now click on create. Now this group has been created. Okay. This group has now been created, successfully created. I'll now come up here and now refresh. Now, who can tell me where I can now assign license to this group? Who can tell us? Where should I go to assign license? Let me say that you're paying attention.
Office
From the admin.
Still on the M365 admin.
Thank you very much.
Admin.
It's as simple as that. So know that you cannot assign a license in your Entra ID. You can't. They've said it is there in the documentation. So don't come and struggle and you want to assign license, it's not working. And then you just, I think somebody was doing something and then the person was struggling. I cannot assign license. There's no even license, whereas he's doing it the wrong way. So I have to go back to my admin environment. So here you can also create the group here, which is security. We can create here, or you can create it. And so I've showed you where you can also create it. Let me just close this one. I don't need it here. Let me just cancel it. So here I will now come up here. Now I do not now assign a license to a group in my M365 environment. So I'll come up here, this same place where you have your group. Make sure that the group is there already. If I go to security group here now, that group will be under here. If I type that group, what's the name of that group? Cloud security, right? Enter. This is it here. This is the group. It's there already. Okay. I can come up here, click on that group. Once I click on that group, I'll come up here, licenses and apps. Click on that. And then now, this is now my license that I have. These are the licenses I have. Now, this is my license here. Look, I say available license is what? Is 6. I have 6 licenses left out of what? 25. So if I click on that, the license will be applied. I'll just click on save. Come up here, and I'll say save. Now, that license has been applied to this particular group, okay? I'm going to refresh it now. You see, license successfully what? Assigned. So I have successfully what? Assigned license to what? To that particular group, okay? Now, I want to show you another place you can assign license to a group. I'm going to show you another one. Now, close this one now. Let me create a group here now in this admin environment here. I'll come up here, security group, and come up here, add a security group. Here, let me just give this one. Let me just say cloud. Let me say senior cloud teams. So here, I'll come up and click on next. Here, I don't need a role. I'm not assigning a role to it. Just click on next, and I'll just click on create. Finish. This group has been created here. Now I want to assign a license. Remember that we did assign the license through here. We came to this security group, look for that group, and then we now assign the license to it. But now I want to assign the license in a different method. Now, how do I do that? I'll come to this same my M365 environment, because that's where I can assign license. I'll come up here and then look for billing. This is billing. Okay, click on billing and then click on your licenses. Can you see that? Click on these licenses. So once you click on that licenses, you will now come up here. This is all the license I have. Now, which license do I want to assign to this user? This particular license. If I want to assign this license here, I'll click on this one. But I want to assign what? My E5 license to that group. Okay, I'll click on that. Once I click on that, you can see you have users, you have what? Groups. This is per user, and this is what? Group-based license. So I'll click on group because I'm assigning it to a group. Now look at that cloud security we assign license to. Can you see that it has appeared here now? Can you see? We can see it here where you have the cloud security bootcamp. You can see license has been applied to this user here. Now I want to apply it. Sorry, has been applied to this particular group. Okay. Now I want to apply it to that particular group I created. Now I'll now come up here. I'll click on assign licenses. Click on that. Then you now come up here, search for the name of that group. What is the name of that group? Senior cloud. Oh, sorry. Senior. So this is senior what? Cloud teams. I'll click on that and I'll say assign. But look at it now. Read this one here now. Look at this now. Read this one. I said search for groups to assign Microsoft 365 developer license. And I said license to, you can assign license to a maximum of 20 groups at a time. You can see that's why I love Microsoft. They always give you description. If you have that patience to read, you always take note of those things. Okay, so I'll just click on assign license. Now it's saving it. Now look at it here. It's saying that licenses are being assigned to senior cloud teams. It might take a moment for the process to complete. The assignment and its status will appear in the groups list shortly. Feel free to close this panel. Ma'am, we have assigned it. Now look at it now. Is it showing here? It's not showing here. What we need to do? Refresh. And then you see it now. Can you see it now? But look at it now. You're saying what? In progress. Already they've told us that it will take time. It might take time. Do you understand now? So if I refresh it again, let me refresh and let's see. Now it is done. Can you see that now? So you can see that these groups I have here, they have what? License on them. So any user now, I will now go and sorry guys, I want to take water. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. Now, I want to assign a user, and let's see. Now, when you assign a user to that group that does not have a license, they automatically what? Inherits that license from that group. Jennifer, you want to ask a question? Can you please just hold on to your question for me? Sorry, please, because of our time, I'll get back to all the questions. Normally, I like taking questions after the class so that we don't, because I want you to get what we are doing. We have a lot of things to do, but time will not permit us. So sorry about that. Now, I'll now go back here now. Go to this user, active users. Now, let's look for a user that does not have a license. Let me see which user. This user here. Okay, this is my user here. This is called Azure AI Show. Is a user, and this user does not have a license. Okay, you can see it now. License. You can see this user does not have a license, right? You can see it now. The user does not have a license. Abi, we have all seen that this user does not have a license. Now close it now. I'll go and look for that group now. Where is that group now? Go to my teams and group, click on active teams and group. Now click on what? Security. And now come up here, search for that group. Instead of scrolling down too much, just type it there. I did come out. Click on security bootcamp group. Now, members, come to members. No members there. I only have owners. Okay, members. I'll now come up here. These my members here. All the member is assigned. Okay, members. All right. So I'll now click on here, view members. I'll now click on add members. Now I'll look for that user we check. AI show, right? That's the name of the user, AI show. Okay, yeah, this is the user here. So I'll click on this. I'll now click on add. Now look, as he said, this group has, can you see now? He said this group has what? License. Sorry, this group has assigned license. Removing members from this group will remove their group what? Assigned license. It's even telling you. Can you see that now? It's straightforward. It's telling you already. So now I'll close this now. It has been saved. I'll now go back to that user, right? Let's go back to that user. Let's see if that user has inherited that particular license. Or how can we can even know whether the user has even inherited? Let's go back and check our license. Go back to your licenses. Come up here. You know that before we have 6 licenses left, right? Now let's see now. How many licenses do you have available now? 5. So you know that user has taken it. Now let's go and look for that user. Active users. You go to your active user, look for that user. AI Azure AI show. Click on the user, and then go to your licenses. Then can you see that now? And look at what it's telling you now. Read very well. It said this license is inherited through a group. You can only change it here. You can only change it here if the user also has a direct license assignment. It is straightforward. Can you see that? It is what? It is straightforward. This user, they don't get this license per individual. That is called when you assign it per individual. But this user got this license through what? The group base. So it's what is an inherit license. So that's why if I don't even need to come to all these process to see that it has the license. Just come up here. This is here. You can see that the user already had. You can see this is the name of the license. You see, it's license. Unlicensed user is what you are seeing here now. Unlicensed, unlicensed, unlicensed. That is all. Do we understand? As basic this thing can be, can also be confusing if you don't understand it. So that is for that. Now, the next we want to now do now is now we want to now delete that particular security group. We want to delete what? The security group. We don't need it again. You want to delete that security group. Now, let me crack your brain and let me see if somebody can tell us what to do. Now, I want to delete this security group. Now, who can tell us briefly what will happen to that user and the license in that group? Okay, AKG, But you.
Okay, so if you delete the group, the licenses associated with the group also go with the group, but the users remain untouched. They won't get the licenses because the licenses were attached to the group. So the licenses go back to your admin portal for you to reassign, but the users stay with no licenses.
Thank you very much. That is it. Please clap for him. Okay, that is just it. So if you go out, but there's something I want you to note that which you didn't make mention, and I know some people might not understand it. Now, if you go and delete that particular group, you understand me now? The license go back to this thing, but it cannot be possible that way to go and delete a group that now has a license. The first thing you need to do, you have to remove that license from that group before you can delete it. You can see that when we deleted the user, we did not need to go and remove the license before we delete that user. We just deleted the user without removing the license, isn't it? And then the license go back. But in the case of a group that has a license, you have to first of all go and unassign that license from that group before the group can be deleted. Now let's see whether it is true or not. Now let me look for that group. Now I'll only look for the group. I will only look for the group that does not have that. Let me go back to my group. I'll go to my security group here. I'll look for this other one. Know that this one, the two of them, we give them license. I'll be two group, we assign license. I'll look for that senior teams. Why am I scrolling through? Let me just type it. Senior cloud teams. So now this one here now. Why is it bringing out this one? Now this group. Now if I click on here now, click on this group here, and I'll say, okay, I don't want the group. And I'll come up here and I'll say delete. Now, are you sure you want to delete this security group? I said yes, delete the group. Now, can you see what is happening? It's not allowing me to delete it. I'm a global admin. Why is it not deleting? It said a group with active licenses assigned cannot be deleted. This thing comes out in the exam. Take note of it. They come out. They look simple. They look as if but you come, you want to delete. What is happening now? Why is it not deleting? And the problem is that some people don't actually read errors, because even if I used to skip error at times, I used to skip error message at times. I just I know what to do. But at times it's always good to read those messages you see. So you can see that we cannot delete this particular group. The reason being is because of what is a license word group. So we have to go and unassign that license. Okay, and before now, remember this group is a security group. Okay, I'll come back to that later. Let's go back now. I'll come back to that so I don't confuse you. Now I'll go back to where my license is. Now, who can walk us through how to remove the license from this group? If you can walk us through, just unmute your mic and let us know. Who can walk us through how to remove it? Try. No harm in trying.
Okay, let me try.
Okay, Harry. All right.
Yeah, so we can simply go to billing.
Go to billing. Okay. Sorry, let me just close this one.
We can
okay.
We can go through here too. I mean, it's fine.
Where
we were before this page.
Okay, security group, right? Okay, I'm here now. Okay, let me look for that group, right? Okay, you say I can go here. Senior, let me type it back. Senior cloud. Okay, so we are here already. So what do I do?
So we can click on the senior cloud.
Click on the senior cloud, yes.
Licenses and apps.
Licenses and app, yes.
And we can just uncheck the license.
Uncheck that. And then you now
Yes.
click on what? And then you save it. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
save
Click on
changes,
save.
yeah.
All right. So can you see that now? Simple. Thank you very much for that. You can see that. Or you can so simply still go to that same billing. You come to billing, you come to licensing. Now, if I come up here now, I'll go click on this license here. This is the license. Click on that license. I'll come up here, refresh. You can see that that group is not here because we've all removed the license. You can also come up here and assign the license. All you just need to do is just click on it, and then click on it here, and then click on your on assign. That is it. Click on it. That's all. Can you see that now? So that is it. So once I unsign line license, now I'll now go back to the group now. Go back and look for my group, teams and group. Now I'll look for that group now. Look for that. Sorry, let me go back to security group. So now, security group. Now, what I wanted to say before. Now, before now, in Microsoft, before now, when you have a user, let's say for example now you have a role to delete a particular group. You understand me? You can delete now. If you now go and delete a security group, that group is gone and is gone for life. You cannot restore it back. The only group, oh, sorry, AK, we need to miss AGK. Sorry, I'm meeting. So the only group that you can reinstate when you delete as then is the Microsoft 365 group. But if you delete a security group, it does not go to the deletion stage. It deletes completely, and that is all. But now you can restore it. So Microsoft just updated their their documentation on that. Okay. So, but before it cannot happen. So if I come up here now, I'm looking for that senior cloud, right? Senior cloud. Yeah, I'll click on that senior cloud. Come up here. I'll now click on delete. Where is my delete group? Now here, say, are you sure you want to delete? Before it will tell you that, are you sure you want to delete? Once you delete this group cannot be restored. I'll now click on delete. Now close it. I'll now come up here, refresh. Now, if I now go to my groups, deleted groups, come up here. Now, can you see that now? It's a security group. Oh, I deleted it. It's here. I can see, I can find it here under my what? Deleted groups. So there is even with deleted groups, deleted users. Can you see that now? It's here. But before, if you delete a security group, it does not come to this deleted groups area. It goes permanently. And that is why you see that whatever role you assign to users, you have to be very careful. You have to know, you just give users roles that they need permission for. Don't just give them, maybe you just give somebody global administrator, or you give somebody user administrator, and they just begin to mess up with your tenants. So it's quite very, very important. So if I come up here, I can restore that group. But look at it now. Can I delete this group? Let me see. Click on here. I can't delete this group. Who can tell us where we can delete this group permanently? Who can help us? Where can we delete this group permanently?
Entra ID.
Thank you. We are getting it now. So Entra ID. I have to come to my Entra ID. Come to groups here. Then look for that deleted groups, and then this is the senior cloud thing. Then delete. Now, who can tell us where I can see, where can I get the object ID of a group?
Entra ID.
Entra ID. Thank you very much. The same way you get your object ID for a user, Entra ID. And I showed you the same way. Just click on the user, you see. Just click on the group, you see it there. But we can't delete it. So if I come up here, say here too, this information here I see is very important too. You see it in the exam. Even expert exam, it comes out in it. when you delete a user, when you delete a group, how many days does this stay before permanent deletion? It's 30 days. Okay. All right, Emmanuel. Sorry, I know we are running out of time. Your
Yeah,
hand is
well
up.
done, well done. Yeah. Okay, I was just calling that. It's 5 minutes past 6 now. We're
Okay.
5 minutes over.
Okay, like how many minutes do I have extra? Do I have extra time?
Okay, you can just do 15 minutes more.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that time. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you can see that we have a lot to do, and we have just short time. So if I come up here, I can delete that particular group completely. I can restore it here, but in my M365 environment, I can't delete it completely. I can only restore it. Okay, the same thing applies to the users. Okay, so I hope we are getting all these basic things. There are a lot of things. In fact, I can pick those groups alone in Microsoft 365 as a topic, and we'll treat it for 2 hours because there are some other things that are also entail in it. But we're only doing what pertain to as a cloud security, like that object ID now. So people don't know. You don't know even as a cloud security. Those are things you secure. You don't leave it open. You have a security group. You leave it. You just display your object ID up there. Hacker can use it to gain entrance to do anything. So it's quite very important too. So that is for that. All right. Okay. I think so that now this group, I believe by now you guys should know how to, you can create M365 group, but the one we are very important about is the security group, and we have seen how we can create it and also apply license to that group. So we cannot apply license to the M365 group. We can only use that for collaboration. So put it that at the back of your mind. Now that one is always designed for collaboration and other things. Okay. So now then the next one, we now have the membership types in groups, which we have assign and we have dynamic. Now, assign members are added manually. That is the word assign. Whereas dynamic, they need to meet a particular attribute, certain attribute, before the user can be added dynamically. So dynamic means that I don't need to stress myself. I've configured it that okay, if Charles belongs to the member, if Charles belongs to the team of the, if Charles belongs to cloud security, cloud security team, it should be in this group. If that is not his job title, it cannot be in that group. If Jennifer belongs to the HR group, if she's in the HR team, she should be in this certain group. That is what we call the dynamic group. That is so it uses an attribute. It's an attribute-based rules. Okay, and assign is just add manually, just like the way we went to assign that user. We went there manually, we assign. So the same way, if I create a user, I can create a user in my M365 environment. Sorry, I can create a group in my M365 environment, security group, assign a license to it, and then decide to say that, okay, if they onboard users, those users to enter that group so that they can get license, I can use dynamic rules to do that. Those are now dynamic. They're now in different stages. There is the advanced ones, and there is the basic ones. So all these things are very, very important to know. But let me just quickly, because of the time, let me show you. You know that when you come up here, you go to your M365 environment. Sorry, you go to your Microsoft Entra environment. You come up here, Microsoft Entra environment here. All groups. Click on new groups. Then you come up here. If I say I want to use security group, I want to use Microsoft 365 group. But if it has to do with license to security group. But this time around, let me just use the M365 group. Here, I'll now give it a group name. I will say tech. I think I have something like tech. Okay, let me use that tech ladies. I'll just give you tech ladies. Here, the group, this one will have a group email address. Can you see that? A group email address. Now I'll come up here, group description, put it there. Here, assign membership type. If I come up here now, click on dynamic user. Can you see that now? Dynamic user. Now, look at what it's telling you now. Oh, okay, sorry. Let me use security for now. Let me security for now. Now I'll use security for now. So come up here. I'll come up here. I'll say okay, I want to use dynamic. You can see I have assign. We have dynamic. Can you see that? And we have dynamic user. Now you cannot assign. If you assign dynamic, it will be the users. If you say dynamic device, it will be what device. So because it's dynamic does not mean that a group cannot contain both users and devices. Take note of that. Okay? Cannot contain both users and what? And devices. It has to be either be users alone or devices. So if I'm dealing with devices, I can say, okay, dynamic devices. And that one has to do with some attribute, which is tags. That one is a different thing. When you are doing Microsoft Intune, that is a different thing entirely. But here we are dealing with user. Click on that. Here I will assign owner to that user. Come up here. Let me I'll give myself as the owner. And then come up here, assign. And I'll come up here. I'll click on dynamic. You can see here, assign owner. It's not asking me to assign users because it's not assignable. It's just what? Dynamic. So look at it here now. You can see now I can't even click on create. I have to come up here and now put the word add the dynamic query. Click on that, add the dynamic query. Then when you now come up here now, then I can decide to say that okay, that user I created now. Let me go back here. I'll come up here and say, let me look for that thing I created. Who did I create at that time? Who did I create? Koroma. Okay, yeah. So this user here, I'll come up here for Tolu. Yes, I created Tolu that time. So sorry, I don't know if I can pronounce that name. All right, I'll click on that. Or did I delete the user? You can see that we have a lot to do. We've not even touched guest users.
You have deleted her.
Oh, I deleted her. Oh, did I? No, okay, I didn't delete her. Okay, I think she's there. So now here, I'll come to this place here now. This user you are seeing here now, like this, right? This particular user here now. If I come to this place here, go scroll down. Or okay, let me do it in the Entra environment so you see it better because of time. Let me go to the Entra. I'll just come up here. Let me click on. Let me duplicate this. I'll duplicate this tab, and I'll open a separate Entra ID. Come up here. Open my identity. Click on my identity here. So here I'll come up here. Users. I just want you to understand something. So before I put the attributes, come up here. So let's say she's now the member, right? She's the member of the Cloud Security Bootcamp, right? Now, but for her to be able to enter that particular group here, I want her to be in this group here. I want her to be in this group. Where is the group I'm creating? Let me close this tab. Would I close it? I think I close it. Okay, yeah. So I want her to be in this particular group here, the group I'm creating, which is what? Which is the ladies what? Tech. Okay, I want her to be in this group. So I'll come, but she needs to meet some certain attributes. And what is the attribute? If she belongs to the Cloud Security Bootcamp. Okay, if that is our department, I'll come up here, click on this. I'll click on edit properties. Click on edit properties, then you come up here and click on job information. Let me use job title. let me use the word job title. Yeah, let me use job title for that. Let me use job title. Or I can use department. I can use department, I can use job title. Let me just say, what should I use? Let me say, okay, let me say department. Oh, let me say job title. Okay, I'll say cloud security. That's her job title. Cloud security. Let's just say cloud security. That's our job title. Cloud security. So she's the she's the cloud security. Okay, I'll just copy this one because I'll need it, and I'll click on save. I'll just save that. Okay, I've saved that. Now I'll go back to that my dynamic group I'm creating now. Can you see that now? Now I'll now create the expression, which is my syntax. Okay, here I will come up here and say choose properties. You come up here. I'll now say, okay, what did I use? I used department, right? Is that what I use? Hope we are following. Is it department I use? I want to know that you are following.
Job title.
Thank you. So we are following job title. So I will come up here and look for job title here. Where is job title? Job title.
Scroll down. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is job title here. Can you see that now? Job title operator. Come up here and say equal to. Where is it? Equal to, which is job title equal to, yeah, that's it, equal to, come up here, cloud security. Now, let's now validate this now. I'll come up here and I'll say add. Where's my add? I'll say add expression. Now, it has add that expression. So, which means that job title equal to what? Cloud security. So if I have any tenant, any users I have in this my tenant, as long as their job title is cloud security, they will belong to that group. So which means that what? They meet that criteria. Okay. Now let's now use our validation rule, which is validate the rule. Let's now see whether you can use this one to test, because at times this dynamic this thing, it takes time to propagate. Okay, so let me come up here, validate rules. I'll come up here, say add user, click on this, add users. Now let's just say let me look for random user. Let me look for this one here, and then come up here. I'll now add I'll say select user, look for that same user. Okay, click on this one, 2 users. I'll now say select. Now look at it now, validation rule. Now, who can explain this to me now? Can you see one is X, one is tick? What does that mean? Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see that now? So what does that simply mean?
Yes.
Who can tell us?
Because the job title has not been
Coroma
added
is a cloud sector.
and this user.
Thank you. So
job title.
Thank
The
you
one
very
them-
much.
It's the requirement for the attribute. Then
Thank
the-
you
the
very
one-
much. So that is to tell you. So that is to tell you that the only person that met that particular attribute is the person that will be in that particular group, which is this user here, Tolu. Can you see that now? That's how you can see. So that's how you see this validation, this validate rule is very, very important. So we have seen it already. So even if it takes time to propagate, we already know the person that will enter that group. So all I just need to do, I'll come up here and I'll click on save. Click on save, and then I will now create that group. You can see that. So if you don't put your dynamic query, you can't create. You can see that before this create was not active, not until we now go there. But if I'm not doing the advanced one, I'll now click on this one. Where we have this custom extension properties, or I'll click on this my edit. So like I told you, like I said, if I want to do for the role one, for the license ones, okay, that one is a different advanced attributes. So I've saved it now. Now let's go back and see. Let me close this. Let's go back and see. Let's click on create. Now that group will be created for me. Now this group is created for me. Now let's go back and search for that group, which is ladies. I think the name of that group is tech ladies. Yeah, tech ladies. Come up here. come up here and click inside, and now you now come up here, click on members. Who is in that group? Members has not entered. Why now? Because it will take time. So this take time. But already we have seen the member that will enter this particular group, which is what? That particular user, Tolu. So when you do dynamic user, it takes time. At times it give you some few minutes. Okay, it has done. It's there already. She has entered. Can you see that now? We didn't add her. We didn't add her because we don't need to add users, because we have already configured it in our tenant that when we are setting up our account, we are setting up a user, as long as that user has a job title, cloud security, that person will enter that tech ladies group. Is that understood? I think because of our time, I will stop at this place. I think we are seeing you have fun. So if you have any question in the community, yeah, just you can message me and then we can talk more about it. But I will encourage us, please go read, and all. Don't skip the basic. They might look basic, but it's in the exam hall that you will know that it is not basic. Okay, so any question for now? All right, Lovina. Oh, sorry, before that, Emmanuel, I think I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Opeyemi. As usual, you always deliver. Like, you never go short of expectations. Like, we are so happy to have you every time in our sections. Thank you very much, Opeyemi. Thank you very much. Like, it was so incisive. When you were going to Active Directory, I was like, Opeyemi wants to take these people to another level. Well done, Opeyemi. Like, at least you taught them how to manage both on-premise environments and even Entra ID, which is an add-on, because most trainers don't even have knowledge of Active Directory on-premise. There's some people, if they haven't explained sync identity, you won't even understand. But Opeyemi was able to break it down. He logged into his domain controller and he showed you how to sync users to Entra ID, which we will also have a section on that, which is managing hybrid identities. So there, in that section, we are going to install AD Connect. You are going to see what makes syncing users to Entra ID possible, just like Opeyemi has showed us. Like, the section was very incisive. Me, I learned a lot too. I learned a lot. I don't know if we in the course. So if you know that you appreciate Opeyemi, can you just give a reaction? Just thank him for being here, because he has a lot to do, but he has to leave thousands of things that he do. If you are to calculate the money that they will pay him for 2 hours just to be in this section, then all of us put together to contribute it may not be easy for us, sincerely. So we really appreciate you, Opeyemi. Thank you very much for your time. And to everyone that joined the section,
thank you very much. Thank you.
We are going to be dropping the link, the recording on the chat as usual. It may not come early, maybe let's say before 12 p.m. by the special grace of God. I'm going to drop it. So thank you everyone for joining. Let's not forget, we still have another section tomorrow. So let's join and continue to enjoy from the experience of our amazing mentors. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye for now.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.